Welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message, spiritual messages that you're going to want to hear. This is going to be for any zodiac that lands on this video. All right. And if you like the video, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, do all that great stuff. It's good karma. And if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you'd have to do that anyway. Also have to write the magic word in the description box. What is the magic word? Well, it's different every time we do a reading. So let's see what the word is of the day. I always use the Psychic Soul Healer deck. You can buy this deck, and it comes along with a shadow healing workbook. And the workbook teaches you how to do psychic readings. It teaches you how to do spiritual healing. It teaches you how to do shadow work. And there's over 100 different exercises in there. Everything from reframing exercises to body scans to balancing your chakras to opening your third eye, you name it. So again, you definitely want to check out the Psychic Soul Healer Oracle system if you're looking to heal and learn to heal, as well as open up your psychic ability. All right, so let's see what the word of the day is going to be. The word of the day is cruel. Cruel. Sorry about that, about the man next door that's choking. I feel like he purposely does that as soon as I get on stream. It's a trigger for me. And we're going to talk about triggers because when we're in relationships with people, and I almost feel like, again, the energy that I'm feeling right now is almost like you're connected to somebody that isn't nice to you, meaning you have an emotional connection to this person and they do to you too. But it plays out as when they're mean. Like almost like what I was saying, what my husband was doing, like choking, like purposely coughing loud as soon as I get on a live stream. Well, a lot of times we think that a person is doing something deliberately to like piss us off, right? This is what a trigger is all about. A trigger is all about when we emotionally, get annoyed, we get angry. So a lot of times when we're connected to a soulmate, a twin flame, a trauma bond, a past life, karmic, any type of soul relationship, any type of soul family member actually has the power to trigger. And in this scenario, I feel like they're not really doing it 100% deliberately. When we have spiritual blocks, what happens is that we tend to get in our own way, and subconsciously these behaviorisms and habits come out. So I feel like that happens with a person that you're connected to, and it triggers you where again you feel like they're being cruel, but it's understand it's digging up a wound that you have. So again, that situation could not manifest within your life unless you have a trauma, and that trauma is from in your inner child. Okay, meaning like when you were a child, and that could be anywhere, believe it or not, from zero, yes, in the womb, zero, to all through adolescence, right? Until about 17 years old. Not saying that trauma can't happen after 17, but when I'm talking about inner child, I'm usually talking about things that you have inherited from your mother, your father, the environment that you grew up in. And so feeling like you both grew up, you and the person that you're connected to people that, again, were not really nice and loving, or not that you didn't perceive them as nice and loving. They were nice and loving. It's just they weren't the way that you needed them to be. Now, what does that mean? If you're a highly sensitive person, well, then you need a little bit more of you need a little bit more of someone that's going to be nurturing, someone that's going to be sensitive to the fact that you're sensitive when you're a child. So all the time it doesn't necessarily mean that the parent was cruel and mean. It was perceived as that. But understand that's what created the wound. And I feel like the wound you have and the person that you're connected to, which is a soul-mate relationship. You couldn't attract someone into your life unless they had the same wounds, similar wounds. Doesn't mean that the behaviorisms are the same from the wound, but understand, and I feel like it's not. I feel like you're connected to someone that's not nice and you happen to be really nice. And by the way, I didn't say what zodiac this was, and that's because it's going to be for anyone that lands on this. Now also notice that the word that you're going to write in your description box is going to be cruel. So again, you're going to have to like, subscribe, and again, write the word cruel in your comment bar. You know, if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment, then we'll just correspond back and forth on YouTube. And I'll actually put the link there too, so you'll be able to log on the day of your reading, the day that we both decide. All right. But I also like to start the reading off with the word cruel. I should have mentioned that, but Spirit just came in, and like I said, I could feel the trigger. And the trigger was mainly, again, from what was going on in my environment. However, Spirit speaks to us through everything and everyone. And a lot of times through synchronicities, we see the pattern. So when there's karmic energy, it's when we see that it tends to repeat, right? And karmic energy, if we don't learn a spiritual lesson, we get it again and again and again. That's why you say, oh, I just always date the same type of people. Well, it's you haven't learned how to master how to deal with that, which is also, by the way, why I feel like this energy came into your reading. So I always look at the spiritual energy first, because that's going to let us know what spiritual issues you need to heal, what shadows you need to integrate, and then we'll look and see what your person actually did, or what happened, or what's going to happen. And usually it's what did happen and then what's going to happen. And then we look and see how we can integrate those spiritual wounds. See this? Look, clear family karma. And that's what I was saying before when I was channeling the message. I was saying that, again, someone that you grew up with, you saw as cruel and wasn't sensitive to your needs. And so, or what you would do, like, for instance, when I started my live stream and my husband started coughing really loud. So it's like not paying attention to what you're doing. Like, again, not enough. So it's, again, it doesn't need to be that the person was manipulative to a place where they were physically harming you, where they were cruel. Cruel to the child's self is just that your needs were not met. And maybe, again, you were a sensitive child. So everything is relative. It doesn't matter whether it was right or wrong. No, feelings are not right or wrong. They just are, and they're energy. And that energy needs to be transmuted in order to see a different karmic outcome, to break a karmic theme that continues to play out as a karmic loop within our life every 7 years, every 10 years. It's the same situation. Well, that's, again, because there's family karma. So needing to clear it, and what would clear it is a lot of times putting up with this energy. Because if we keep giving to people that aren't nice, we stay in a place of limitation ourselves. We stay in a place of not believing we're deserving. That's why we stay. We believe that there's nothing else. So a lot of times, clearing family karma means that we have to completely come into a different level of ourselves. Hey, Wendy. So you understand that that's when we continue to attract the same type of person that's, not loving, not caring about our needs, not, like, pretty much selfish. Say, why does that always happen? I'm so nice. I come into the relationship. I give so much. I do X, Y, and Z. And doesn't mean that you don't. What it means is there's family karma. And the family karma is maybe your parents grew up around their parents that were stressed out. And so their needs weren't met. So because they're traumatized to still trying to figure out how to navigate their life, they couldn't give you enough. And when that happens, like I said, it will continue to play out as a karmic theme where we don't get enough and enough emotionally. You could wind up with someone that gives you money, but not someone that gives us what we need. And so, like I said, we have to transmute that energy. So the last spiritual card that I'm going to pull out, because we're looking at spiritual energy first, so that's going to help us understand why a person is acting a certain way and then how to deal with that situation. Overstimulated. So again, so this is saying like when you're around this person, a mean person, so it could not just be with the person you're connected to on a heart level, on an emotional level, on that ESP level, which is a soulmate level. It could be, it plays out as theme says everybody is mean. Is again just they don't consider, or you tend to get bullied, and what happens is you get overstimulated, because as a highly sensitive person, it means you're very intuitive. But it also means a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions, and that creates an overload for the nervous system, which makes stay stuck in flight, which makes you not trust yourself, which then would make you overgive in a lot of times relationships, which makes you feel that you can't have, which is why you need to clear this family karma. Because again, we inherit that, but you have to say what was going on in your parents' environment at the time, right? There could have been a war going on. And with times, everything was very restrictive. You were supposed to act a certain way. If you were a girl, if you were a boy, you need to act this way. It's like there were so many rules and rigidity, like structures, which I understand structure is good somewhat, but there should be a balance. And what happened way back when, like it was very restrictive. You weren't allowed to do anything. And then the 60s happened, and it was like everyone went crazy. And so this calls for, again, we always have to get balanced. So, but when we're talking about healing, it's like we're talking about, training the body and mind to work together, because overstimulation is that, and that's to be in the moment and understand that's when you get the divine guidance. That's when God speaks to us through gut, intuition, inner knowing. That's when we see the signs and the symbols within our universe. If I'm overstimulated, I'm stuck in a place of the past of worrying. I am no longer present. So that's why I said this would call for a body-mind connection. And that's through breath work. It's through, sometimes it's EFT. Sometimes you got to find the modality to heal. Because understand your body's and mind's faithful servant. So the cards are not going to read this, but I'm going to channel it, because the mind's your body's faithful servant. You've already conditioned it. If you've been that way, it's just I get in a situation and my body responds. I get overstimulated. I can't trust myself because I don't know what I feel. It's like, or I can't perform the way that I want to perform. And that keeps us in a place of lack. But this is what we inherited. We inherited that because at first I was around somebody that was like that. And I didn't feel safe. So my mind remembers that. So my mind transcends back to what was. And so you can be connected to someone that also grew up that way. They also respond in their anxiety, and they're mean. And so you're like, how come you're being mean to me? Because I grew up like this and I don't like this and it makes me overstimulated. Then both people will tend to get overstimulated because it's how they were conditioned. So they can have a soulmate that comes into your life, and they trigger you because they have the same wound. Again, they're a mirror of who and what is supposed to come into your life. Not so much because it's like, oh, it's going to be so groovy. It's because it's like, oh, you need to heal that. And you wouldn't be aware of it. You wouldn't stick around long enough unless you weren't crazy for the person. So it's like, it's all learning and it's all healing, but it's understanding that God and the universe are always talking to you through everything and everyone, including obviously your soulmate. And a lot of times it's all about learning unconditional love, because that's all God is. The universe, the energy of the universe is just unconditional love, you know? So that's what it is. I'll talk after the reading, Wendy, so that I can answer some of your questions. But as far as right now, this is what's happening. This is what has happened. This is the energy that you're both standing there. Almost. I want to look at the wounds just really quick. Because sometimes it's like, let's see what... I feel like every aspect of healing is, you know, we need to look at the situation from all different perceptions in order to see what we're blocking, right? Because again, when you have a spiritual wound, it's I'm blocked. I'm blocked. It keeps replaying as experiences that I don't like. That makes me feel like I'm not capable. That makes me feel like I can't have love. That makes me feel like I'm not good enough. That makes me feel like I don't have money. That makes me feel, is again where spirit's like, again, back in your body. Stop with the overstimulation. Knowing the wound helps you is what I'm trying to get at. Even though you'd be like, why the fuck do you want to know what the wound is? Because it's going to add another layer to the reading. And yes, we will go into what that person's going to do, because we all know they want to know that. But God says, well, I want you to know the healing stuff, because the healing stuff is going to help you see yourself whole instead of half, and then attracting those people that you perceive are the other half, that a lot of times it doesn't play out that way. It's karmic, self-righteous, judging others harshly, never admitting you're wrong, put yourself in their place. So it's, again, person could be overstimulating and cruel because they're, again, self-righteous, which again would trigger you to feel not good enough. So it's a little passive aggressive. Sometimes it's not so much in your face. It's where you're like, well, is it my imagination? So it's, again, that's a little bit of sign of gaslighting. And that's self-righteous people. You know, they have to put themselves on a pedestal, that they have to elevate themselves. So you have to understand what you're dealing with. So you never want to come across weak with a person like this. Like what people will do a lot of times is, well, I want to accommodate. But what you'll see is you'll never be able to accommodate, because this is almost like narcissism, which is why it comes up cruel. Reckless, being thoughtless, taking dangerous risks, practice mindfulness. So it's, again, the recklessness could be addictive behavior that goes with that. Or again, just being with a lot of different people and just not caring. And reckless behavior for you would actually be overgiving to a person like this. So you might not say, oh, that's not reckless. It actually is reckless, because you're not caring about yourself. It's not really in a word that we would think that we would use it in this context, but when you think about it, it is reckless, because it's like, why are you going to be with someone that makes you feel bad? Because you know that they need to elevate themselves. They want to be self-righteous. And unless you're kissing their ass, they're not going to, their level of perception of what actually is balanced is off, because they're not coming from a sense of balance. So people that are on a low vibe, and so they have wounds, and we explain why they have wounds, and we understand why they're triggered. We also understand why you're triggered. And we also see how you respond is most likely not going to be the same way that this person responds, but we can already see that this person is trying to elevate themselves. They want to gaslight, and they're going to give you little. So to make you think that they don't really like you as much as they do, because that would require them to tap into their emotions and they're not comfortable with that. And so, and attach, don't commit too soon, separate needs versus wants, give some room to breathe. So, this would say again of codependency, right? Because if we tend to feel bad, if the person makes us feel bad, we're going to overgive, we're not going to have a sense of balance. And then this is really why the toxic relationships happen, because attachment, where spirit says you need to be whole. You need to be whole. So we see that the relationship, it's that there was a soul relationship. So it's again soul relationship. I feel no, this person's supposed to be in my life. You feel that they have all the elements. However, they're cruel. And they're cruel because they have attachment issues, because they need to clear family karma. So how does that play out with you? Well, they're self-righteous, and that makes me overstimulated, because it's like they're always judging me. And so you being with them would make it as if you're reckless, because you're not thinking, you're just thinking of, I want to be with this person because they're my soulmate, and that would be a problem. So let's look at the triggers. We're eventually going to see what that person's going to do. But I like to look at the energy from all different layers, so I know how to deal with this. Because the bottom line is this: if this is a soulmate twin flame, so not that easy to say, okay, well, I know the person's fucked up, I'm not going to deal with them. We can't. A lot of times it's like you're going to fight with your head and your heart. You're going to be with them, you're not going to be with them, you're going to be on, you're going to be off, you're going to seem like a crazy person, and you will become a crazy person, because this person's going to be triggering you the whole time. And so, like I said, knowing what the triggers are allows you to know how to deal with this person. So abandonment issues. The wavering in and out of my life has caused severe triggers of abandonment, and it cannot continue to happen. So again, you felt abandoned. Like, this person's like here today, I don't want to commit. Like, again, keeping you, being cruel. And this is that passive aggressive way of gaslighting. And then making you feel as if you should stay there by them being self-righteous. Hello? Like, no. But it doesn't mean that they don't love. Understand, we're looking at the wounds. We're looking at the triggers, because we're going to look at the shadows and how to integrate that. Because how do you deal with that? It's a soulmate. They're deliberately triggering me. That's the opposite of love. I'm feeling like I'm going crazy. It's like I'm on, I'm off, I'm on, I'm off, I'm manipulated. Yeah, because that's what you do. You wind up walking away, but every situation's karmic, and you would need to walk away. But if you walked away too late, then a lot of times it's like you've already given this person like a taste of who you are, what it would be like, and they know exactly how much you care. So they play that waiting game, like who's going to cave first. And that's all because of abandonment issues. But they don't realize that they keep abandoning you by the 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because I don't want to get hurt. So again, selfish, as we said, which is self-righteous. People are selfish. I need to make you think that there's something wrong with you. And this is why you would be reckless if you're going to stay with a person like that. Well, what the fuck's the point? To again go back, clear family karma of attachment, which a lot of times is like just codependent. And that's mainly because of society. So it's like not even like how things were supposed to be, like, meaning. So that's enough for that. I want to know now what this person really thinks. I want to look and see the hidden truths, because just because we see the wounds doesn't mean anything. Because again, people hide, they wear a mask. It's again, the shadow wears a mask. It's like, I want you to perceive I'm this person. But meanwhile, you're like, that energy is nothing like what the fuck I'm seeing here. But it's maybe I'm gaslighting. Like, again, maybe like you never realize maybe they're gaslighting, and then but their whole point is they want to make you feel crazy. And that's why it would be reckless to stay with a person, because we can see that the behaviorisms, how the behaviorisms play out. I love you unconditionally. See, it's a soulmate. It's a soulmate relationship. So it's like you can't break love, because what is God? God is unconditional love. That's all it is. It's an energy. It's the highest vibration, which is unconditional love. And that's, again, we all have that inside of each other. It's our connection to each other. It's felt as empathy, it's sensitivity. So this person has that ESP connection where they can feel you. They can feel you when, even when you're not around, especially if you get pissed off and you're like, this motherfucker. Like they can feel that. And it's, again, that's a cord, a psychic cord. So the person has that. But that terrifies them, because understand, they grew up with mean energy. So it's like, I don't need you to be in control of me. So then we have to say, okay, so the issue is attachment. So we automatically know you have to be real busy with your life, right? Because the person will say, and you're like, well, they set it up like that. It doesn't matter. It's, again, if they really like you, they don't know how much is enough. So they'll always, you have to train people. When you really like a person, you want to be around them all the time. They make you feel good. You get endorphins. Yeah, there's a vibe, there's a chemistry. Of course, you don't want to make that person feel bad. However, if you abandon yourself, look, attachment, where Spirit's saying, you can't break the number one spiritual law, which is love thyself first. Because the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. It's, again, like, give to love unconditional, but give to yourself first. This way you're in a cup that's full, and that person's only getting what spills out. So you train them. That's how you don't have attachment. So that's number one, because the unconditional love, the person also was like, I really have feelings. Yes, that's passion, but there's wounds there. So how their crazy looks is they're in, they're out, they're back, they're forth, and it looks bipolar. And then it's like, am I crazy? And it's like, you're crazy for sitting there trying to, like, figure it out. Like, it's like, I couldn't let you get close to me. I can't not lie. This is what I'm saying. So how did it play out? It's like, I was afraid why? Because I don't like parts of myself. The shadow parts of self are the parts of self that we've rejected. But understand, you're not looking at that person that way. You were looking at your own shadows that way. Like, oh, I'm not making enough money, or, oh, I don't know if I look good enough. Oh, I don't know. It's, again, all those parts. But that person's not looking at you like that, the same way that you're not looking at them like that. So this is why they say you have to love yourself first. Now, this just fell. So because it just fell, I'm going to take it. I wish I could share my good news with you. So it's, again, when you're friends with a person, like when a person, like I said, like, meaning that you probably built a relationship with this person at one time where there was a friendship. And unfortunately, when you separate, that's when they actually see. That's why the song goes, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Because it's like, I didn't think about the friendship. I didn't think about all this. I was so busy thinking that you were going to, that you get too close to me and was going to see my wounds, and I was going to lose control of myself, that I didn't acknowledge the friendship. I didn't take into consideration. So I didn't treat you well, and they feel bad. Now understand, they wish they could, tell you their good news, but they can, but they would have to surrender their ego. And so when we have a shadow, what is the shadow? The shadow is the ego part of self. It's the mask. So and really, it's to get to unconditional love. And so when we have that soulmate, twin flame, or your karmic mate, even, again, that person, their job is to do that. So let's see, are they going to do it? Like, are they going to surrender their ego? Because at the end of the day, that's how they would integrate their spiritual lesson. Because they're so afraid, they need to see something different, but they're not willing. They weren't willing to do that when you were friends with them. You had to walk away in order to break the karmic contract, right? And that's what it is. Right. I know you're like, I need to know. It's like, how does this person feel? Spirit, what are they going to do? You better not tell us nothing, right? They better be suffering. I have sexual fantasies about you. This is actually good because understand it's the passion that transmutes the spiritual wounds. So it means that there's very good chemistry there. Like there's a lot of chemistry. And they have to miss you, right? So soulmates are like, wait, we wouldn't stick around to learn. Who the fuck wants to stay around with someone that treats you bad? No one wants to stay. No one wants to put up with this shit. We stay because we're like, oh, how for this person? We have this great chemistry, but they're fucked up. It's like, and they trigger me. And then it's like, it makes you crazy. That's why it makes you crazy. So, of course, this is a good sign. Twin flame, which means that they can't control it. It's again, they'll want to control it. So you have a big ego. But again, love is supposed to surrender the ego, which is again the shadow. Those parts are not your truth. Those parts are the mask that you made up, how you want to be perceived. I feel empty without you. All right, we already know. What are they going to do? New deck. Getting tired of all the passion here. Well, that's the whole thing there, but they understand how their ego was made. They went through a lot of bad situations themselves, bad perceptions. They don't trust themselves. People have big egos. They need more healing. Know that, even though that it comes across self-righteous and cocky and all that, it's like you're looking at something and you're like, why the hell are you showing me this when this is what it really is? And that's because they don't know how. And we forget that. We're like, you're doing it purpose. It's like, no, they have a wound. So it's and it has very little to do with you. Then you're like, then why am I here with this person? And Spirit says, because I brought your soulmate so that they can teach you about yourself, so that you can again heal it. So that because it's really about you getting closer to learning that you are just unconditional love. You are the first thing on my mind when I wake up in the morning. We're going to go on and on about this. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to need to pull out the tarot decks because it's like I'm getting like the fire here. Obstacles. So I feel like the obstacle might just be their ego. I don't know. It could be actually something that's going on in their life. Let's take a look. I get emotional when I think of you. Okay, enough. Like, I need a tarot deck because like it's going to go on forever. And I'm trying to cut down on the time. All right. What the hell are they going to do? I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that. Let's see. This 10 of Cups reversed. 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords. Look what it says. Ego struggle. See that? So, but then again, Queen of Pentacles, stability. So, I feel like they're not stable. They still don't feel like they still don't feel like they have enough. That's what it is. Understand it's not an overnight thing. Sometimes the person needs to meet different people in order to like see. Sometimes they need to like again sow their wild oats, but it's like I'm gonna pull one more. Yeah, like disappointment. It's like I feel like that it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with this person. And it's again, does that mean that it's right now? Well, listen, like I said, but that's what I'm saying. It's him. He doesn't have enough. So it's again, and that, but really that's his perception. And told you that before. And it's again, the ego struggle is that. And it's because it's like you'll want the stability is, and you also like they a lot of times they want to match your perceived energy. So if you seem as if you're stable, they don't want to come in having less than. Right. So understand it's like they want to come in as like because he has a big ego, he would want to come in like having like really like a 10 of cups, but the truth of the matter is it's like that this person doesn't feel successful, but it's because of their ego. And because again, they're kind of stuck in the past, to be honest with you. So I'm perceiving like you have everything now. It's if a person doesn't allow you to get close, which is what I see here, which is what I saw, which is what everyone saw. There was a card that actually said, I could get close to me. Well, understand it's because that they already have an ego, but they're stuck in the past of that they weren't successful. And so they can't perceive how they would be successful to make you happy. So it's like they're going to avoid the heartache. They're going to avoid the disappointment, is what I felt. So they're really just disappointed in themselves, which is a level of perception, which is why you're like, this person's been like this for 50 years. Yeah, it has been, because just because you have a wound doesn't mean you ever heal it. Some people have the same wound their entire life. They do the same freaking thing forever and they never heal themselves. It's what alcoholism is made up of. It's what codependency is made up of. It's what, so yeah, like it's normal because that person feels that they're a disappointment. They don't feel like they can be stable. So they're already saying, I'm crazy about this person. Again, the soulmate, the twin flame, actually, but they're not on the same vibration. The soulmate twin flame relationship is all about that person raising their vibration. We have free will to have that opportunity to do that all the time. Now, love is the strongest energy of all. It's a universal panacea, which is that magic pill. It gets us to do what we normally wouldn't do. But this person doesn't love themselves. This is what you're seeing here. And so you have to say, well, why am I attracted to someone that doesn't love themselves? Because then that's the big thing, because it's like 3 of Swords, painful truth. But I feel like they're coming out of it a little bit, but it's like we can see it's reversed. 3 of Pentacles. So it's again, and I feel like it's all because of their job, to be honest with you, just like not happy. And just someone that copes through life, like gets by. And I never really had to think about what they were doing, which is understand the main reason why they keep reliving the same karmic pattern, because they never thought about anything. So it's like usually having people come in and do all the work for them. And then, after a certain amount of time, that doesn't work karmically, it catches up, where you get a lot of, you look back on your life and it's just a lot of bad relationships, and you're not liking, and they're not obviously also not liking like who they are financially in this story. Right, you would be tired, and that's why you had to walk away, because otherwise it becomes so toxic. So, but understand why you stayed, because it's like, well, I'm not crazy then, because the person did love me even though they acted like that. Yes. So then the bigger issue is, why were you attracted to that? Instead of, we'll pull one more card just to see where they're at, where they, how they feel, because I'm nosy that way. But really, the big question is, why then were you attracted to somebody that wasn't nice to you? Because you want to integrate that. Otherwise, it will continue to play out as another relationship, because you let your guard down. So that's why. That's why. Because it's, again, it says in the Bible, literally, what we resist persists, meaning if you don't learn, you get the same karmic theme. That's what a karmic loop is. It's like, here we go again. The same thing. It's the same situation. If everything's the same. I miss you no matter what it looks like on the outside. I've become good at hiding my true feelings, which is what I said. Didn't I tell you that? Like that what this entire story is it's like that they have the feeling. So again, when you have a soulmate twin flame, it doesn't matter what they're showing you, you can feel that. So understand, number one, it would be the next person that comes into your life would have to show you. You couldn't just go by that feeling, like, I know that you're a soulmate, because they were a soulmate. So that's number one. And it's to say, are you codependent? And if you're codependent, it's like, where do you need to put your time? How? So let's pull a few cards to heal, to ask the universe, like, what would be the healing advice for you? Because really, it would be, number one, we already saw from what the wounds were with your person, that it would be not to be codependent, not to overgive, not to clear your family karma, where if someone's not nice to you for whatever reason, whether or not there's an attraction, whether or not there's a spiritual connection, it doesn't matter. You still need to train them. You still need to boundaries. You still need to fill your cup up so that it overflows, so that you give that person the excess amount so that they always want more. I mean, because you don't know who a person is. Time is what tells you that. And that's really, it's how you train a person. And people think, oh, you're so mean by saying train. What I'm meaning to say is how you want to train that person, how you want to be treated, how you teach a person how you want to be treated. It's not really bad. It's that we're creatures of habit. Everybody is. I'm a creature of habit. It's like, and we can get into bad habits. Wake up in the middle of the night and eat a piece of chocolate in the middle of the night, and then you'll have no teeth. Understand, everybody forms habits that make themselves feel comfortable. So you want to teach a person right from the get-go how you want to be treated. Otherwise, they're not going to. They're going to treat you the way they treat themselves. So was that. It was like it was a mirror of each other's wounds, which was the same wound. It just, you don't have the same behaviorism as this person. This person acts like a narcissist that is in, out, confusing, wants to keep you tricked, gaslight, because they have strong feelings for you and it terrifies you. For you, you're like, well, I have strong feelings and I overgave and I was nice. And so it's that. Right. So that's why I'm saying. Right. So release. I stop fighting my fears and the hardships of life. I control my thoughts, live in the present moment, and accept each stage of life. I work on what I have power over and put into God's hands what I can change. I trust that everything will work out for the best. So the card that you're asked, because again, how would you heal? And it was to release, which is Like, stop fighting your fears. Like, don't think that you'll get this. And to live in the moment. And again, everything which I said before, know that you're deserving of it, obviously. Release like the fact that you think that you need to, like, that you're not lovable. The core belief of whatever that is what you need to release. And and know that God has a plan for you, that the universe will bring you exactly who you want by you becoming what you want. And if the person isn't nice, then you can't. So that's really what it's all about. It's all about healing, it's all about integrating here. And, I'm going to leave it there because that was just how it goes. And I hope that you guys get the healing energy from that and know that by learning what a person's wounds are, and a lot of times understanding that, hey, a person really did have feelings for me. They just weren't capable of loving me the way that I wanted. You take your power back. You're saying it was my choice to walk away. It was my choice for us not to work out. Yes, I see that and I feel that spiritual connection that we have. However, it's not enough. It's like, and that's really, and it doesn't matter. You need to heal first before. Choose you is always the answer. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Wendy, again for being on and joining me. And just keep positive about that lawsuit. It's going to work out for you. You ask me this all the time, like right now, it seems like it's going to be. I mean, like right now, I pulled Ten of Swords, painful truth. So it's like, but I'm still feeling like it's like it's wait, stand by. Like I don't, like stand by, meaning it's not there yet. It's like I felt it was positive, even though the card said that. It's like I feel like that's what you feel. You're like, I'm so afraid I'm not gonna get it. And so don't think like that. It's like I said, I just don't like I think it's your fear, because like let me just see. Let's shuffle the cards and just pull like 3 cards on it just to see. But I felt last time it was going to take a little bit, like a hot minute, even though you were like, it's been a long time already. I feel like our court system is, oh no, listen, it's like, I know, like, it's like, I know that you're fearful about it. And that's why I'm saying, don't like obsess and be fearful over it. Okay. The star, like optimism, like literally, it's like spiritual growth. This situation, I feel like is that. And then again, but it's going to take a long time. It's like, I feel like it's positive. I just felt like it's going to take a long time. And I don't know why that's what I felt. And then the cards back that up. So it's like you're gonna give yourself a heart attack. It's like, again, where spirit's like, it's like a spiritual lesson. Think of it like a spiritual lesson where, and possibly something that you have to see a good outcome of it because you don't really believe that it can be a good outcome. And that's why I'm saying, I think it's going to take a long time. And is it possible that it's not, is it possible for them to still be on your side, but you still not get 100% of what you're going after? Because like, I'm feeling that a little bit, if there's anything negative on it. Like where they compromise. That's what I felt. So I feel like it's mainly like it's not going to be bad, but it's not really going to be 100% what you want. And I don't know why that, like, I felt like there's going to be a compromise, but it's better than what you would think. No, I don't feel like that. But I still feel like there's something. Like meaning like possibly like yeah, you're not guilty, but it's like you're not 100% innocent either. You know? So like no jail time. All right. Well, you let me know, and I will talk to you guys all later. All right. Thanks. Mwah. Bye.